And so we're here to celebrate the end of the third semester of the Georgetown Prison Scholars Program at the DC Jail. And we're also here to celebrate the completion of the first ever semester of Georgetown offering credit-bearing courses to incarcerated students. It's a huge milestone. And I want to start by congratulating our students. We actually prefer to call them our scholars, for their hard work, their dedication, their perseverance, and their achievement. I've had the good fortune to teach one of the two courses this semester, called Democracy, and also running the weekly lecture series, which all of the students, credit and non-credit, have been going to. And I can say that I'm so impressed by all of you, as were all the guests who came through for the lecture series. Because not only are you the living model of human transformation, of preparation for successful reentry, but you are good people who love to learn, and it shows. So I'm in awe of you, and you inspire me every day. Even on days when I'm not physically here, I take you with me. I channel your energy, your intelligence, your dedication in the outside world, where I'm trying to convince the rest of society that you deserve to return to freedom, and that you deserve to share your talents with your families, with your communities, with all of society. So it's been an honor for me to be your professor, and I've learned so much from each and every one of you. So congratulations and thank you. Now, taking a step back here, it's hard to believe that just 14 months ago, all of this was just an idea, was just a dream. I went back and checked my calendar, and it was on October 13th, Friday, October 13th. So much for spooky, jinxes and so on. On the second floor of the ICC, where Josh Miller and I met with Director Quincy Booth, with Brian Ferguson, to talk about a vision that it turns out we shared, which was to create a top-notch elite prison education program in a facility that many people thought it just couldn't happen, in a jail. And we came together, we had a meeting of the minds, we had a plan, we decided to pilot a program in the coming months, and then Director Booth gave us the good news that he had hired the superstar, Wonder Woman, Amy Lopez. And then Amy brought on some incredible people like Clarence Humes, Tab Burnett, Tiffany Simmons. And then we had a few more meetings and we said, let's go, let's pilot a program, a non-credit program. It started in January. And now here we are, essentially a year later, and we're celebrating 3 successful semesters of our program. We've offered a total of 26 non-credit courses and now 2 credit-bearing courses. And next semester we have 2 more credit-bearing courses and more planned for the summer, and we have 7 or 8 more non-credit courses planned for next semester. So this started out as a pilot, but not even a year later, this is no longer a pilot. This is a thriving program. And just in 1 year, think about that. Now, much of this credit goes to the Department of Corrections leadership, because I've been working in prison education for a while, and I have to say that I've never seen or heard of anything like the level of support for programming, for education, and just for the well-being of incarcerated residents, as I've seen here at the DC jail at the CTF. And I would now like to invite to the podium the architects of this policy, of this culture that they've instilled, Director Booth and Deputy Director Lopez.
Sure. So for somebody that's never at a loss of words, I find myself sometimes at a loss for words. So I came on board 17 months ago, and Director Booth called me out of the blue. You guys heard this story yesterday. I didn't know who he was. We talked for about 2 hours, and one of the questions he said, what would be your vision? And so I started reeling things off, and one was to have a college program, not just a partnership, but actual college where we were a college campus. And I said, if you'll just give me a year, I can probably figure it out. 4 months later, we were rolling. And then we did the non-credit. How many, Mark? We had maybe 4 or 5 courses, Josh?
It was 6.
6, and then the next semester we had 13, something like that. Yeah. And our officers are going, yeah, we remember 13. That was a lot. And then we started 4 credit. It's unbelievable. But the thing that's most unbelievable are you guys, so you know how I feel about that. It's just that you blow me away every day. And I'll never forget, we had a tour, one of our mini tours, and we came in, do you guys remember that? I think it was democracy, or it was your discussion class. And then everybody started visiting, and when we left, the people on the tour was like, I need to study or go back to school. That was crazy. I couldn't keep up with the conversation. You just make me so proud. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our line staff and our security staff. Doesn't seem like that big of an undertaking, but when you're moving enough people to fill 13 classes from all over a building on 2 top sides of a building, it's an amazing feat. And so I just always want to thank you guys, our security team and our officers, for always being there. And we recently, I was telling Director Booth today, we had new officers in education, and they came up and said, I'm so glad I got this post. I wanted this post so bad because I want to be a part of this. And so that's also kind of unheard of in corrections. So I just think that we have the perfect place to do that. So I'm proud of you. So I'm really happy. And thank you, Mark, Josh, Aaliyah, for all the work and for being, and Marty, where are you? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And so also to echo, and I won't be long, but it is sort of amazing that we're standing here in a year's time. Because oftentimes, and Deputy Director Lopez and I, we were chatting about it earlier, oftentimes people take that time to plan, and we said, no, let's make it happen. Because you, and you, as far as the family, you matter. So what are we going to waste time for when we have these brilliant minds here that has shown how brilliant you are? So as Deputy Director Lopez stated, folks said they need to up their game. Yesterday at the graduation, I was sort of blown away by just the ability for people to sort of show up and be present. And so I commend you all for showing up and being present, not just here. I know you're going to continue to be present when you leave out of this space, right? Because as I've spoke to many of you time in and time out, the community needs you. The community needs you. And I won't really belabor the point. We have people, and I won't sort of shout them out, but they've helped to change, and it's multiple people in this room, they've helped to change policy on a local level that's changing on a national level, right? So just imagine what that would look like and feel like when you're out of here, right? Just imagine what that would actually feel like. And so I am forever indebted to you all for making this dream that we thought about a year or so ago a reality. Because the truth of the matter is, if you all didn't show up, guess what? They would have said, you know what? Well, this just didn't work, and we'll go somewhere else. And so what this is, in my opinion, is going to transform the lives to show, not just in this space when you invest in education, but also on the outside when you invest in education, because there are certain things that you all can talk about that didn't actually happen to you when you were on the outside in some way, shape, or form that we're going to do in our next chapters to come. And so I echo Deputy Director Lopez's piece, and forever grateful to Deputy Director Lopez and her entire team, as well as our officers, because this looks like the end product, But we all know as far as movement, as far as the work that they have to do for interviews, which I came the other day, and there were several folks saying, hey, I'm here for my interview, I read the book last week, I'm ready to rock out. And so I appreciate all the work that you all do, and we see the end product, but what I will say is that the best is yet to come. And so I'm thankful to the entire team, to the families that support, to the extended families, to the friends, to the attorneys, as well as to Georgetown for just their love and passion and commitment to do this. Because the reality of it is, which I don't take for granted, fundamentally you must understand this in life, my opinion, people don't owe you anything. They don't. Institutions, Georgetown can stay way up in Georgetown and not come to their southeast location, which is permanent now, and we appreciate that. And so again, I appreciate their commitment and their staff's commitment to come in and day out. And so the best is yet to come. This will be a model that many people will envy, but hopefully not just envy, hopefully they'll get up and do something about it. So we are forever thankful to your work, and we're thankful to you all for what you're doing, and the best is yet to come. So I'll pass it back on.
Okay, I'd now like to invite up another representative of the DC government who also represents Georgetown University. He's a very special person, a very dear friend. Many of you know him. He's the director of the Mayor's Office on Returning Citizen Affairs, Morka. He's a 2018 graduate of Georgetown University. He's someone who knows mass incarceration and reentry very well personally, having served over 11 years on a life without parole sentence for which he was wrongfully convicted. He's about to leave next year to Oxford University as a Marshall Scholar. He's a superstar in every domain, and he's my good friend, Brian Ferguson.
How y'all doing? That was too much, Mark. Listen, I'm going to be extremely brief because I honestly really just came here to support this day, you guys, you women, for what you were doing. And so I purposely don't have anything planned to say, but I just wanted to talk to you because you all make me extremely proud. I hope that you all know that there are a lot of eyes on you on what you all are doing. A lot of people look to you all as the example, both in this city and also nationally, of what can happen if people from universities, from institutions kind of put their minds together. And as Director Booth mentioned, it's really about you guys. You guys are the central piece to making all of this work. And so, I definitely want to extend, on behalf of the mayor, thanks to the Department of Corrections for the amazing work that they've done in terms of programming and education. I want to thank Georgetown University, Mark Howard, and his Prison Justice Initiative and all the amazing work that they've done in bringing this program here. I want to thank your families, right? I want to thank your families for supporting you guys. And these are all people that you all need to thank because they are the people that are behind you, the people that are going to be there for you, and the people that have kind of made you who you are. But more importantly than all of that, they need to be thanking you. You need to be thanking you. Because if it weren't for the hard work, if it weren't for the perseverance, if it weren't for the resilience that you all have shown every day, right? Getting up, doing the work, making sure that you do what you're supposed to do every day. If you didn't do that, then you wouldn't be sitting here, right? And the reason that you all are sitting here is because you have been able to and shown the ability to overcome whatever is in front of you, right? You all are sitting here with Georgetown University shirts on. It's so many people that are incarcerated, that are not incarcerated, that would love to be sitting there having graduated, having had certificates, having had courses, right? The same that you all did, right? But it's you all because you all are doing what you're supposed to be doing. And as the director of the Mayor's Office of Returning Citizen Affairs, our job is to try to take care of people once they come home, to try to give them direction and try to put them on the right path. But you guys are on the right path. I hope you see me when you come home, but more than it's what I'm able to do for you, it's what you all are able to do for all of the rest of the people that come through our office. Y'all are gonna be an amazing example, and the more of you who come through who I can say, man, this guy, this woman has been extremely successful. Look what they've been able to do. And it didn't start when they touched down. It started when they were in prison. They had a focus, they had a goal, they worked at it, they saw it through. That is going to affect many people's lives. So it's so many people, as Director Booth said, the community needs you, I need you, the government, everybody is looking to you all as leaders. So I just want to celebrate you. I want to take my hat off to you and thank you all. And I hope you thank yourselves and really appreciate and sit back when you go back. When you get home, when you go back in the cell, whenever you have a minute, just acknowledge how much you put into this and what it really means, because everybody else sees what you're doing, and we're all appreciative. So thank you.
Okay, now I want to turn, thank you, Brian, and thank you everyone at the Department of Corrections and the DC government for supporting this program and including the staff that make this place work so smoothly and this program function so well. I want to turn to some of the Georgetown leaders and faculty who've made the program possible. Last spring, when we were having conversations about moving to credit-bearing courses, we were looking at junior colleges in the area. We were looking for partners who could offer transcripts and courses and potentially even leading to degrees. And frankly, that's what the vast majority of prison education programs do. They partner with a local college. And typically that's because the school, if it's an elite school, has sort of qualms about offering its own credits, its own name on transcripts. And so while we were looking, we discovered that the best solution of all was right in front of us, something that we never dreamed would be possible, which is that we could actually work with our own institution, with Georgetown University, and that's with our School of Continuing Studies. And so not only did we have extremely qualified, efficient, and supportive staff and a team to put together this program, but it was actually in-house, and it was all Georgetown. And so we're really, really grateful for that. School of Continuing Studies is led by Dean Kelly Otter. She's a visionary leader of SCS. Her team includes Kristen Consolo, her chief of staff, and Trey Sullivan, who are both here today. Dean Otter was actually planning to come, but had an emergency at the last minute that prevented her from coming. But she sends her congratulations and best wishes. But her chief of staff, Kristen Consolo, will come up and say a few words on behalf of SCS. So please welcome Kristen Consolo.
Hi, good afternoon. If we've yet to meet, I'm Kristen Consolo. I'm the Chief of Staff at the School of Continuing Studies. And on behalf of Dean Otter, who unfortunately was unable to make it here at the last minute, I am grateful to be here today to celebrate your achievements as students in the Georgetown Scholars Program. First, I'd like to again acknowledge and thank all the people who collaborated to bring this program together, to Dr. Howard, Dr. Miller, Aaliyah. We certainly wouldn't be here without your leadership. So thank you all for bringing us into the mix. Likewise, Director Booth, and the DC Department of Corrections, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come into the jail and provide this type of education. To our students, so you know by now at Georgetown we take academic excellence very seriously. I'm sure you can tell by the rigorous work you've put in this whole semester. That's a hallmark of a Georgetown student experience, and with that comes expectation and responsibility. We expect that you will take that education and use it to uncover truth and discover meaning. So I hope these courses helped you do that this semester. Some of you, the Tank Left Scholars, have done so through your courses in Democracy and Philosophy with Dr. Howard and Dr. Lichtenberg. These scholars have earned Georgetown credit that they take with them with the Georgetown transcript, which we can get you all after the holidays. This is a big deal, something that's a first here, and something that we're proud to be a part of. Many thanks to the other folks who have taken courses in journalism and politics and studio music. From what we've heard from the faculty, you all have risen to the occasion and performed superbly in class. I had the chance to join one of the non-credit lectures, which was completely over my head. I was taking notes like mad. I learned more in those couple hours than I have in a long time. So thank you again to everyone for all their hard work this semester. Congratulations to each of the students, and thank you for letting us be a part of this.
Okay, so now I want to give a chance to my Prisons and Justice Initiative colleagues to say a few words. And when I say that, I should just preface it with kind of a story that just happens over and over and over again, which is that I'll frequently get emails, phone calls, requests from media, things like that, that talk about, your team, your institution. We'd love to meet with, several members of your team. And I kind of look around and I realize, with the internet, with smoke and mirrors, and with a lot of dedication and hard work, you can put together a program that the outside world will look at and think, there must be, 50 people working there with all that we're doing. I mean, we have the Pivot program, we have the paralegal program in partnership with Morca. We have so many things, our exoneration program as well. There's just so much happening, and it's just 3 of us, right? And without Dr. Joshua Miller, without Aaliyah Grace Brown, we couldn't do any of it. Because, I got things started a few years ago with some students, a lot of energy, but there was no way we could sustain it. And when Josh Miller came on board a year and a half ago, it was a complete game changer because we were able to put our heads together to think big, really big, way beyond what any small institution could do. And we've managed to bring that together. And we especially were able to do it when Aaliyah Grace Brown came on board starting in March. And that has allowed us to expand, to move to credit, to create the Pivot program, to do all kinds of things that we have planned for the future. So I'd like to give Josh and Aaliyah a chance to say a few words to you because they've been so central and integral to this program and its success. You want to come, Josh?
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, everyone. All right. I was going to say something. I'll say it very quickly. King Solomon was presented with a case. 2 women came to him, and they said, this baby, we disagree about who it belongs to. They each claim to be the mother. And Solomon, he came up with a solution. He said, what we'll do? We'll split it in half, and you can each take one half home. One of the women burst into tears. She said, I can't do it. No, it's better that she keep it. And Solomon knew that was the true mother. Now, I think we here have an experience, which is that we see people constantly asked, which is more important, the education or the credit? Which is more important, the degree or the things you learn? And I see before me men and women who have been asked, would you take an education if you got nothing out of it? And you say yes. And what we're working to do is to make sure that you take the baby home, that you get credit as well. So that was my story. What Mark said is much more important, which is that we could not do this without Aaliyah Grace Brown. When Mark and I started this a little while ago, we were working 80-hour weeks. We were going crazy. And Aaliyah came on board, and she made this possible. So I have been able to not see you guys for a little bit because of her, and I am intensely grateful to her. Thank you.
I will be quick. First, just thank you to all of the friends and family and professors that came in to support our students today. As someone that's kind of new in the prison education space, every day I'm thrilled and obsessed with my job, which I say all the time. But I hope you guys, can really feel that. Also from Josh and from Mark, I'm so grateful to work with such incredible, passionate people. And this is, far better than anything I could have envisioned doing a year after graduation. Quick story, so Josh and I we had the opportunity to attend a national conference on higher education in prison last month. And again, someone new to the space, it was incredible, but what I really took away from it was what's going on here is so special and is so unique and has just incredible potential to grow. And a lot of the programs that were there have been running for a while and are doing really incredible things. But one, a lot of them are prisons and not jails. So, and Amy and I have had this conversation before, even outside of our program, a lot of the things that this incredible team has put together is not happening in jails. And so, as unpleasant as circumstances may be, I hope our presence and some of the other opportunities that you all have make that a little bit better. So thank you all to our scholars. You guys really, really are some of the most incredible people that I have the opportunity to know. So thank you guys and congratulations.
I just want to add one point, which is, and I think this came out of the conference as well, which is that we are the only coeducational education program in a carceral setting in the country, right? So we have Christina and Mimi. You know, it's not completely balanced, but we're so happy to have you both. Bring more women into the program, spread the word, but it's extraordinary. Again, it speaks to the leadership from the very top, which is to support that. I think it goes against a lot of the gut reactions that a lot of people in corrections would have, saying you just can't do that. We're doing it, and it's working, right? And that's really important. We're setting a new trend here, I hope. I'd now like to invite Professor Judy Lichtenberg, who has been teaching the other credit-bearing course, Introduction to Philosophy. And I have to say that Judy is so committed to teaching here, to working with you all, and she's going to tell you herself. But I see it every time we talk.
I will, like others, be brief. Yeah, I got interested in this a few years ago. I wanted to do it for a long time, but I had no idea how rewarding it would be. And you know, a teacher is also a student, and so you always learn from your students, but students here have things to teach that are different and, you know, incredibly rich. So I have learned an enormous amount from all of you. So I wanted to just, in addition to all the other people that have been thanked, just say to my students, De Niro, Drake, Halim, I can't see where everybody is. Jaquan, Michael, Mustafa, Mamalu. I think that's everybody except for Christina, of course. I had them in alphabetical order, and then somehow, plus a couple that we unfortunately missed. But yeah, I've learned an enormous amount from you all, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. So before we turn to the voices of our scholars, I want to give them a chance. I just want to acknowledge and thank a few other people from Georgetown. Avram, although I think here he goes by Avram, Reisman, known as Big Ave, who was the TA for my democracy class. Daniel Breen, who's taught here before. Yael Kicken as well. And Yael will be teaching one of the credit-bearing classes next semester in English literature. Daniel was the writing tutor this semester, and I hope will continue in the future. We also had Ben Harbert, who I think is not here, Nolan Bennett, who's taught here a number of times, Neil Rowland, Bruce Clark, Allison Ross. Did I miss anyone else? Cindy? I just met Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time and the interest to come here and to contribute to this campus of Georgetown. It really means a lot, and it couldn't happen without all of you. Now, I'd like to turn the mic over to our incarcerated scholars to share a few words. I want to start, though, by reading two statements that were sent to me by two of your colleagues who were in our class, in the credit-bearing classes, but unfortunately were sent away before the semester was over into a federal prison. And that was against their wishes and against our wishes. But unfortunately, sometimes the system can be very cruel, as you know. And we're working with them so that they can finish the courses by correspondence because they're well into the semester and they're really dedicated and really want to finish. So Raymond Dodd and Edward Martinez have sent in statements that they've asked me to read out loud. So I'd like to read it on their behalf. So from Raymond Dodd, he says, I first want to give thanks to Georgetown University for the Scholars Program. This is not only an amazing experience, but one that is not taken lightly. In my 23 years of incarceration, I have never witnessed or experienced anything close to what Georgetown has provided. It is also reforming the mindset of people who otherwise believe that incarcerated people are a lost cause. It not only boosts my confidence going forward, but it also makes me realize that you should never judge your own capabilities until you really give it a try. I want to give a warm and special thank you, all caps, to Ms. Lopez. She is a true champion for those who are oppressed, to be not only treated with dignity, but to allow us to contribute back to society as positive role models. I owe a great deal of gratitude to Ms. Lopez, because against all odds, she will fight for the underdog no matter how long it takes or how patient she has to be. There is a spirit within her, and history will speak volumes about her. I look forward to the day that I get out of jail to be her champion as one of the guys who not only benefited from her assistance, but also to show the value of what her assistance looks like to men and women once given the opportunity. I could go on and on about Ms. Lopez, parentheses, everyone knows that I will grab the microphone and talk until you take it from me. But I want to emphasize the message of appreciation. To her support staff, Mr. Humes, Tab, South, Ms. Deborah, and anyone that I may have forgotten by name, thanks to all of you. Your assistance really makes a difference. When I tell people here, and right now, Raymond is actually in Kentucky. When I tell people here what is going on in the jail now, they can't believe it, and they all want to be a part of it. Lastly, to Mr. Booth, I've had the honor of seeing your commitment in several forms, from Black Fathers Matter to your support of Ms. Lopez to get the education so that we need to achieve something out of life. This is something that I wish more people would recognize. We have talked on numerous occasions, and if there's one thing I want you to honor from someone who has been incarcerated since July 10th, 1995, is that you should continue to recognize the value of Ms. Lopez to the D.C. Department of Corrections. Because she is a tremendous value to the men and women of the District of Columbia and their families who have been counted out for the past 20 years. She may not look like us, but she fights for us like nobody I've been around in years. And for that very reason, she is, I know. Raymond wants a kickback too. And for that very reason, she is, all caps, the real deal. Thank you, Mark, for reading my message. Please also tell Aaliyah, Judy, Josh, Nolan, and everyone else that I send my highest regards and encourage them to continue the great work that they're doing. They're making real changes in real people's lives. I might be gone for the moment, but I shall return soon, only this time in a suit and tie. Ray. And now from Edward Martinez, who's in Texas. Greetings to all those in attendance at this joyous and momentous occasion. Certainly this is a milestone achievement for some. For others, it is a definition of your fortitude and the principles that we celebrate today. To the former, the students, know that any person whose entire time is spent in the contemplation of limitation cannot demonstrate freedom from such limitation. To the contrary, we remain in bondage, absolutely constricted from any growth of any kind, resulting in a life of perpetual losses, the inability to move along with a society that has devalued our meaning for many years. Today, you have added more meaning to your value. Today, you are saying to that same society that you are able and ready to contribute, that you are able and ready to rebuild what your hands have destroyed, and if needed, to build the very foundation that this society so desperately needs anew. Dear students and comrades, we must become more if we wish to draw the greater good into our lives. Know that the true and actual experience can only take place within, making it essential in developing the principles for a successful life. We must instill within us the seed that will produce goodness, reliance, aptitude for prosperity, kindness, and humility. In essence, all those things we've been told that we are not. Lastly, remember that it is one thing to know something, but it is another thing to apply it. With that, I congratulate you on a job well done. To the latter, the administrators, staff, and faculty, today you have fulfilled your intent. That call you made to those who would listen that if we took the step forward, you would extend your hand and give us something we have been deprived of for so long: opportunity. Today, your worth is greater than those that sit a few blocks away from you on Capitol Hill. Actually, maybe not today, because they just voted to pass a major criminal justice reform bill, so we'll give them a pass for today. But in general, as they bicker and confuse the masses under the guise of our democracy, you have initiated the first step of producing a better society. You are the frontline heroes that are setting right what has been set wrong for far too long. Today, race, gender, or titles are of no importance if we are to truly embrace this moment. If we are to truly embrace this moment, there has to be the known stipulated fact that inclusiveness to rebuild a better society starts first with the pardon of those stripped from the fabric of our great society of a vicious stigma that keeps us second-class citizens. Those that sit in front of you are worthy of more. This day proves that it can be done, and it shall be done. And of course now, to Ms. Lopez. I have mentioned your name to all those who will listen. You are the nexus to our brighter day. I sit miles away in your home state of Texas and can clearly see your vision. And if they were ever to doubt you, go and tell them that the seeds you sow shall never wither. Tell them that time will be your witness to what a simple gal from Texas with the seeds of opportunity will produce for the unwilling. Thanks to you and to Director Booth for the yes when the rest of the penal system continually says no. Mark, Judy, Joshua, Aaliyah, and the Georgetown faculty, your support and hard work will never be in vain. The structure you are building shall withstand the naysayers. It shall build the very platform of a new day. Yes, a day that the ill-forgotten shall return to even the scales of justice that have been uneven for so long. We, as one, will produce fairness, equality, and true justice for a better society. Your time spent with your students has been well vested in good people, stripped of a voice and a platform to announce their grief. Thank you for listening. Thank you for acting. Thank you for being. Signed, Edward Ahoya behind the wall. And now we're going to have a few live speeches. And I want to start by inviting a scholar who has worked so hard this semester, who lights up a room with his energy, with his smile, who definitely wins the Most Spirited Student Award, and who can beat anyone in this room in a push-up contest, including with his legs up in the air and walking around the room on his hands, the one and only Mamalo Stewart.
First and foremost, I'd like to give honor to everyone that was given honor to already. Director Booth, Ms. Lopez, Aaliyah, Mark, Judith, the whole Georgetown staff, the whole administration that made this possible. I'm very grateful, I'm very humble to be in front of you today, and definitely my creator for allowing me to be on the top side of the soil to actually be in front of you, because it's like it's miraculous to even, endure and to be where I'm at right now. Can you hear me, Uncle Reggie? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. And I want to thank you, my father's best friend, my Uncle Reggie and my Aunt Mona. Definitely appreciate them coming down. My dad came over here in 1970, something like that, and he wanted to become the president of Liberia. And he was killed when he was like 38, and now today I'm 38. And my Uncle Reggie, my dad's best friend, recorded the whole funeral, the whole way, and never gave it to anyone, not my sisters, not my uncles, no one. Held it for me. And now when I came up here, he came to see me, and my dad from Liberia, my uncle's from Liberia, we Gola, that's our tribe, and he told me that he held it for me. He held it for me because he knew that one day I was going to make a difference, and I needed to see my father. I needed to be there. And my dad is here in spirit. We can't see him, but he here. He here in heart, and he here in mind. In 2008, I was fortunate to read his thesis in political science. And when I read it, it shifted my paradigm, because I understood that the life that I was living as a youth, the indoctrination, what I was taught, you know, the machismo was a false mentality. It wasn't my reality. It should have never been that. But somehow, a structure formed itself around my life that I couldn't shake. And it wound me here, in prison. Prison is not rehabilitative. Education is. Education is the very element that rehabilitates us. So having this opportunity, having Georgetown come through and teach us things about democracy, teach us things about integrity, because even when we giving the test sometimes Mike say, man, you know, he wants to see where your integrity at. Don't cheat. And, you know, for me, it's always a hard thing in studying, because I study too hard, and then my mind kind of locks up. And my friend Harleen, he helps me study. Speaks about civic engagement a lot, social contracts, things of that nature. Mark asks a question. He say, what can we do to support democracy around the world? This is the question that he asks. So from the class, I understand now civil society. We are the civil society, the ordinary people. We are the ones that's supposed to make a difference. We are the ones that really affect the laws. We really affect society. We really affect community. That education that we get endorses us to move forward in the audacity to help our people, all people, not one race. It's only one race, a human race. So when we come together as a people, then we can begin to build our nation. Our nation is falling not because of Donald Trump. Our nation is falling because we refuse to do what we must do. It's a consequence to that. Education is the greatest thing that we have. There's no mistakes in life. There's only lessons. There's only lessons. When you learn from the lesson, then you can properly push the community in the right direction. No single drop of rain feels like it's responsible for the flood. But everyone in here plays a part in this world. Everyone in here is connected. And you probably don't see the connection until the ground break. Then all of a sudden, it don't matter where you standing. You just trying to not fall in the ground. And that's what we're going through today. In closure, I just would say this, man. My uncle, he asked me today, he said, so what do your dreams look like now? That's what he asked me when I came over there, and I kneeled down, and he was like, what do your dreams look like now? Well, Uncle, first and foremost, I see my dreams with my eyes open. And I honor my path. I'm not afraid to stand in front of the things that, you know, I made mistakes in doing, because I know that those lessons is going to help our youth. It's going to help my community. When we get back out, we have a task to work with the people that's here right now, because y'all doing a great thing. a great thing, and it's not by chance or coincidence. It's spiritual. In science, it's energy, and in religion, it's spiritual. You know, so we can just use the word energy, you know, just in case anyone might not believe in spirit, you know. But it's all energy that we wind up in this same space, in this same place, you know, and we got a task, and it's a blessing, and I'm definitely honored. I'm appreciative. I'm humble, and it's an honor. Thank you.
I've been around a lot of people currently, previously incarcerated. But there's one person whose level of suffering and endurance is something I just can't even fathom. Mustafa Zulu, who's an all-star student, who's incredibly bright, who's incredibly engaging, spent 20 of his 26 years of incarceration in ADX, Supermax, complete isolation, which the entire world, minus the United States, it seems, recognizes as torture, as completely inhumane. And somehow he has emerged from that with a spirit that is unbroken and an energy that is so positive and infectious that I'm just honored to call him my student and my friend. Mustafa Zulu.
Bismillah. Wow. You did me too much. You threw me off with that one. Yeah. But yes, this is full circle for me, as Mark put it. I entered this jail when I was 16 years old, a self-destructive, traumatized child who I could barely read and write. I returned 26 years later as a Georgetown Scholar. I'd like to thank the staff here, Mark Howard, and the Georgetown faculty, Aaliyah, Dr. Josh, and the DOC administration, Booth, of course, Amy Lopez, AKA Dee Low. What you guys doing is nothing short of chemistry. It's nothing short of alchemy. I mean, you're going over to those jails with those rough and tumble guys like myself are, and you're finding base metal and bringing it back over here. You're producing gold. And what you're doing for me, what you did for me is valueless. It's priceless. And I can't thank you enough. I appreciate you, Mark, Aaliyah, and Judy. Thank you, Judy. That said, I'd like to address my fellow brothers and sisters in Orange. Orange can never be the new black. Do not let this define you. I like to call to memory or call to reflection the development of the butterfly. It starts off as a worm-like thing, based and low down, low-life creature. But something happens in its development where it wraps itself up in a cocoon. And in that cocoon, something drastic and mysterious happens. When that cocoon is finally cracked, that butterfly comes out and soars. It's a beautiful creature. It soars above the life it once lived. It's low down, as many of us have lived and still living today. And so, I'm going to keep this real brief and short. I challenge each and every one of you to use this experience as your cocoon and to work on yourself, to develop yourself, and train yourself and plan so that when you leave out of these doors, that you too will soar like butterflies. Thank you.
Now, there's one more person that I'm going to introduce, but I'm going to save him for last, and that's Helene Flowers. I want to invite to the mic anyone among the scholars who would like to say a few brief words. We are low on time. There's really, really delicious food, including some Moroccan food by special request. Christina.
So a lot of you know that I have dyslexia and I struggle with it really, really hard. And you know, when you get incarcerated, like was mentioned before, you don't realize what you can develop. But the beautiful people here have seen something in us that we don't see in ourselves, and they've driven us to be more and be better and do better. They've driven us to transform, but not only transform within, but without too. We learn to have loved each other, genuinely bond and grow, not as inmates, but as classmates. We've learned that love is something that can be spread, not just with family, but just from people that become strangers, who then you learn to respect. You learn to respect these types of people like Director Booth, Ms. Lopez, Mark, Aaliyah, and Josh, Judy, and Daniel, and Yael, that make the world a better place. Like, they really do try to give us something to do better, and we do better. And do you know what it's like to sit there and tell your kids, you know, I went to Georgetown when I was in jail? And then tell your grandkids about that? But it's something that's going to take over the world, and we're on the ground level of it. And there aren't very many women now, but trust and believe there will be, because once they see how beautiful this is, they're going to want to jump in. And it's just amazing that we've learned to love each other. And I really do love every single one of you. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to say a few words? I can't hear you. Oh, there were some faculty members who wanted to say something? Yeah. Bruce?
If there's time, I mean, I'd really prefer to hear.
Come on up.
Thanks, yeah, appreciate it. So I'll just be brief. It's great to be here today to celebrate the achievements, all of you. I want to thank the Department of Corrections staff who've been wonderful to work with. I mean, they are really true partners in this every step of the way. Been a great help. Really, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Also, of course, the Georgetown staff. And finally, the students. It's been great working with you. My class is short stories. We read plays. We discuss short fiction. There's a lot of back and forth. We have some budding dramatists. We have some budding actors, and maybe even trial lawyers in this class as we go forward. But I don't want to take a lot of time because I know we're short here. But I want to thank all of you for your contributions, and certainly want to say that these classes are a two-way street. And I learned as much from you, probably more, than you learned from me in these courses. But let's keep it going next semester and keep it going as a two-way street. Just briefly, I want to say that I used to practice criminal law. I was a public defender in DC in the 1980s. And then, as now, if you went to trial or entered a plea in a felony case, you did a lot of time. And it was hard time and more hard time. And that's all there was. There were no programs. But over the years, there has been a change. And I think we really need to thank the DC Department of Corrections the Georgetown program for being a huge part of that change. And what the change really, I think, is a change from the punitive model of incarceration to the opportunity model of incarceration. The opportunity to get a quality education. The opportunity to succeed in society when you return through jobs and other programs that Georgetown is going to add to its repertoire in the coming months, and other opportunities that have been created along these lines. So I think we are building here something really different, and I think we are humanizing the criminal justice system, and we are forging a more just society in our work. So thank you so much for all that you do to create that.
Thank you, Bruce. Would any of the scholars like to say a word or two? I've never seen Mike and Joelle not jump up when they have that opportunity, so.
I'll say a few words.
Michael Woody.
First, I want to thank everyone for being here, particularly the guests. I want to thank the DOC led by Director Booth and his team, Amy Lopez. I want to thank Mark Howard, Georgetown led by Mark, Josh, and Leah. Education is very, very important, reaching for higher learning opportunities. That's something we should always pursue.
About the Jews that
Muhammad Ali said, if a person is the same person at age 50 that he was when he was 20, then he just wasted 30 years of his life. Albert Einstein said that the minute we stop growing, we start dying. Nothing in the universe stands still. The universe is always expanding. Education allows us to expand our minds. It expands our perception, which allows us to see more opportunity. Two things I'll leave you with: a short poem by Leonardo da Vinci, who said, once you have flown, you will walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. There you yearn to be. There you yearn to return. So utilize this to continue to build. Learning is a lifelong process. It don't stop. It don't stop here. Continue to pursue higher learning and higher educational opportunities. And last but not least, I want to leave you with this. Nothing great is ever accomplished except by great people. And people are great only if they aspire to be so. Thank you.
Joelle?
initially I didn't want to come up here because it'd just be more Amy Lopez. What can I say that hasn't already been said? But I would make a declaration. I believe that Aaliyah is one of the most powerful women in D.C. under the age of 30. I also believe that Mark Howard, that he is the East Coast representation of Brian Stevenson.
Under 30.
No. If you want to have under 30, I will give you that for that. And Professor Josh Miller, he's a philosopher who has a heart that's beating to the tune of reentry. To share this space with these individuals is empowering. Today, I want to acknowledge another group, my comrade that spoke, Mama Lou. You hear me? Everything you said, brother, every word, we felt it. We heard it. When you introduced Mustafa Zulu and you came forward, a representation of what resiliency looks like, we felt it. And as we wait for the anticipation of Dr. Harleen A. Flowers, I'm speaking that in existence. This man is a scholar in the midst of us. So I want to honor them, flip the script a little bit, and let it be known how much I see my fellow comrades in this space and the family members that are here, and you've seen us and looking at us and realizing what it means to be someone, to be a person, to be a human being, to be a person of integrity in a space when it has not been deemed as doing so. We thank you for that. Mr. 35.
All right, I think that's a perfect way to segue for me to introduce the last scholar who's going to speak tonight before we go to the keynote speaker, and that's future Dr. Halim Flowers. Not yet, not yet. Not so easy. So, Kristen Adair is here, and she's a filmmaker who's brilliant and has made a number of films, and she's a partner with Halim in a whole series of projects that they're going to be bringing forward when Halim gets out, or even that they're starting right now. But I got to spend some time with her, and she showed me a video that was taken when Halim first was incarcerated, which was at age 16. And that alone is bad enough. Other countries don't put 16-year-olds in metal cages with grown men. Other countries don't charge 16-year-olds as adults. Other countries understand that children take time to develop. Well, Halim came in at 16, but if you look at him, and there's some pictures of him, and the video, he honestly looks like he's 10, maybe 12 at most. And you look at that and you think, what on earth are we doing in this country? Putting little children into prison. And Halim has grown up in prison, right? He came in as a child. And now 22 years later, he's one of the wisest, smartest, most interesting, most engaging people I've ever met anywhere. And so it's just been such an honor to be able to share this time with Halim now while he's inside, because very soon, and I hope really, really soon, he's going to be outside. He's going to do great things, and I hope to be a part of it. So please welcome Halim Flowers.
My best friend, Mamadou Stewart, he told me before I spoke today, he said that, man, make sure that I go before you. And he, you know, it's a hard act to follow. It's just amazing. Before I read this poem, it's just been a journey of impossibilities. And if I could leave the people with something today, it's just run towards impossibilities. You know, Kelly Taylor from Free Minds, when they first passed the legislation for juvenile lifers, it didn't contain any provisions for those of us that had already been in. And Kelly was telling me, you know, and Free Minds like, why are you so happy about this bill? It doesn't contain anything that can help you. I said, Kelly, it's going to get passed. Didn't it? It's going to get passed. And we fought for that. And then last year when I met Mustafa Zulu, we was in a high security prison in the desert of California. And I told Zulu, you're going home. He didn't believe me. But today, we're here. So I'm emotional now, so I'm going to cry now, so I'm just going to let y'all know that. But I never knew that when I developed this skill of poetry, just so I could trick females to come see me. Because when you're 16 and you got life, all the girls that you go to high school with, what they tell us, Mama Lou, you ain't gonna be home till they got flying cars. So I had to develop, you know, a skill to write, you know, to persuade, you know, women. Like I tell Kelly all the time, my success is just a result of all the women that invested in me, from my grandmother, my mother, people like Kelly, Kristen, and I just want to honor the women. You know, I'm a feminist. I'm a Muslim, but I'm a feminist. And how could most of us that come from our communities not be feminists when most of us are raised by single mothers? So I wrote this poem for this event, and it's called You Asked Me. You asked me what I've learned in democracy. I've learned that the greatest hypocrisy is that democracy isn't something that we should fight wars and kill for, because democracy is something that we should all strive to live for. You asked me what I've been taught in philosophy. I've been taught why I became more dangerous inside of a cage when I started writing books instead of expressing my rage, and why literacy was a penalty for slaves. You asked me about the things that I've acquired from Mark Howard, how tyrannical rulers are only empowered by the selfish and greedy economical and political elite and the complete inaction of intellectual cowards. You asked me about the jewels that I wear from Professor Judith's treasure, the silver crown of sound reasoning that's too heavy for a fool's pleasure. You asked me, why does the things that I learn, the pain that I see, the truth that I write, makes my captive concern of the facts that I speak, which bring the darkness of injustice to light? You asked me, when you all already know all too well that an educated slave is a slave master's hell. Yet you ask me, and even more I dare to explain, that the more that I become aware of, the more like Django I become unchained, which you still ask me. Thank you.
Wow. If whoever's in charge of the multimedia can get the computer going, is that someone here? Because I want to transition to our keynote speaker, but before I do so, we have a video message from the person who sponsored this program, and I mean funded this program, and that's Jason Flom. Jason's not here with us tonight. He's actually traveling. He's in London, but he wanted to send this tribute, and I want to introduce him briefly. Some of you may know Jason Flom is a major music executive. He's the CEO of Lava Records. Before that, he's been the CEO of Atlantic Records, Virgin Records. He's launched the careers of countless musical artists, but he's also a passionate supporter of criminal justice reform. And when I found out in early August that we had gotten a green light for this program, but only if it was fully funded in advance, which didn't look all that possible, I reached out to Jason Flom and I sent him a desperate email asking for his help. And he responded 7 minutes later and wrote, "Where can I send the check?" We wouldn't be here without him. We wouldn't have been able to launch certainly the credit-bearing program without Jason Flom. And he really wishes he could be here in person, but since he can't, he sent this video message, which hopefully is about to play. Does it not play?
Hi, I'm Jason Flom, and I'm very proud to be the founding donor of the Marty Tankleff Scholars Program. And I'm very proud of each and every one of you for participating in the program and excelling in your work. I've always said that education in our prison system is the single most important factor in helping to set the tone for men and women coming out and succeeding on the outside, which is why I think this program is so important. Now, the sad news is that I'm not there in person, but I am with you in spirit, and I will be there next year or next semester for the next one of these events, and you can hold me to that. You can take it to the bank. So I just want to say a couple of words about Marty. When Mark called me, and I love Mark too, so, you know, Got to throw that in there. But when Mark called me and asked me to fund the program, I said I would do it on the condition that we named it after Marty Tankleff. And the reason for that is that Marty is, how can I say it? Marty's my hero. You know, he is one of the most courageous, optimistic, brilliant, and just positive people that I've ever known. And what he's been through and what he's done with his experience are an inspiration to me and to everyone else in the criminal justice reform movement. So once again, congratulations to all of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person, unless you're out, which would be even better. Hi, I'm Jason Flom.
How about a big hand for Jason Flom? Now, following on Jason's introduction of our keynote speaker, I want to say a few words because I'm thrilled to be able to introduce him. Marty Tankleff has personally experienced the horrors of mass incarceration of criminal justice, having served almost 18 years of a wrongful conviction before being exonerated. And he's also a living example of the power of education. When he was in prison, he was close to receiving his associate's degree before they cut funding for the Pell Grants for incarcerated students. He spent most of his 17 and a half years in prison working in the law library. He was studying the law, he was working on his case, and by the way, he got himself out of prison. He broke his case open. People put praise on me and his lawyers and other supporters. Marty got himself out of prison, okay? But he helped others. He was incredibly generous throughout his time in prison, appreciated by everybody, which, as you know, and people who've been in other facilities know, is not always easy. But every group, everyone appreciated Marty because he was generous to them all. When Marty was exonerated, December 27, 2007, which I remember like it was yesterday, and for me even is one of the greatest days of my life, 2 weeks later, he was a college student in a college classroom on the outside. He got his BA from Hofstra University. He then went on to get his JD from Touro Law School, taking the night program while working full-time as a paralegal during the day. He recently passed the New York bar exam and is on his way to becoming a licensed attorney in New York. And of course, he's now also an adjunct professor at Georgetown University, where he co-teaches with me the course Making an Exoneree, which has already succeeded in exonerating one person from prison, Valentino Dixon, after 27 years. And we hope this is going to lead to many, many more releases from prison in the future. So please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, my friend, since we were in lovey-dovey preschool together at the age of 3. That even maybe beats you, Halim and Mamalou, right? 3 years old. Please welcome Marty Tankleff.
So I gotta say, it's pretty hard to follow this crowd, but, and Mark really had embarrassed me saying lovey-dovey preschool. But you know, I have to say, there's not many people that can get me to come back into a prison other than Mark, but it really wasn't Mark, it was each one of you. I walk in your shoes. I know how important education is. I remember when I was taking classes at Auburn Correctional Facility through the Syracuse University program, one of the professors said to me, he goes, "I love coming into prison to teach." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "The students are the best students I have." And he also said, "The one thing I'll never get is mom and dad calling me up and saying, 'Why'd you give my student a bad grade?'" But really what it was an opportunity that so many of us, and most of my fellow students, never had an opportunity to go to college. They were never given that break. For me, I would have been on that path. But for many of you, I have no doubt college saved your life. College will change your life in the future as well. When I got out, because I had an associate's degree, I was able to go on to get a bachelor's degree. I was able to go on and get a Juris Doctor degree. I was able to go on to become an adjunct professor at this institution and at a law school. Had it not been for Mark pushing, and Ms. Lopez, and Dean, Director, this program wouldn't exist. And we as a society need to understand education really is the key. It changes your mind, it changes your focus, it changes your direction in life. There was a gentleman that I knew in Auburn, his name was Bigger, a Jamaican man who said prison saved his life. And I said to him, I said, how did prison save your life? He said to me, I was running amok. I was running the streets. I was never given an opportunity. He said, I came to prison. He said, I got a GED, I got an associate's degree, I got a bachelor's degree. He goes, when I get out, I'm going to make something of myself because prison saved my life. Georgetown can save your life because when you get out of here, you get to say, not that I went to Georgetown in jail, nothing to be ashamed about that. You get to say, I went to Georgetown. And everyone in America will know that you went to one of the best institutions in America. Okay? And guess what? You stand tall, you stand proud, and never be ashamed of what you did before you started this venture. This journey that you've taken will give you opportunities that you may never have had in life. For me, it was a different path. I wasn't supposed to be in prison. But while I was in prison, I did exactly what you did. I took advantage of the educational programs that were offered to me. It will change you forever. Mark, I mean, he really is my inspiration. I've known Mark since I was 3, and Mark has kind of, I joke with this, wrote me into this. But I made a decision that I would never want to do anything other than this. When Mark used to talk about going into Jessup Correctional Facility and teaching at Georgetown, and he said the students were the inspiration of life. And when I started teaching with Mark, I finally got it. And every time I've come in with Mark to meet incarcerated men who are in his classes, I find that I want to come back more and more. And for somebody who served 18 years in prison, wanting to go back into a prison is not normal. It isn't. And I remember the first time Mark brought me in, I almost got locked up. See this badge? Oh, we went to Jessup and I lost the badge. And it just created an absolutely amazing story because the captain said, you know, we could lock you up overnight to figure out who you are. And we got it resolved, but when I went back to speak to the men were saying, we kind of wish you got locked up because we could spend more time with you talking. And I said to them, I said, we probably would have had a lot of conversation. I know it would have been fine. But I want each and one of you to think about how proud and honored you should be today and every day forward. Whether you're taking a credit-bearing class or non-credit-bearing class. The opportunities you have to get an education will change your lives. Okay? Your mind, your soul, your passion. And to the families here, please understand how important these educational programs are, not just for why the men and women are in prison, as they move forward in life. Because we know in today's society, education is key. If I can do it, every one of you can do it too. Every time I come into prisons, I'm more and more inspired. And I said to Mark tonight, I said, how soon before he has me coming into the jail to start teaching? And he said, I don't want to push my luck. He says, you live in New York, I come down. I would love to do this because guess what? I walked in your shoes. I know how important these programs are. It's not just for the education, it's for the sanity, it's for the humanity of it. When I was in college, it gave me an opportunity to feel human again. And we all know in an institution, humanity is so important. For you to be able to go to a college classroom anywhere, have a professor like Mark and the other Georgetown professors treat you like one of their own, not as somebody who's incarcerated, as a student. It helps you get pride, It helps you give honor to who you are. And I hope every one of you sees the opportunities that lie before you. Some of you I was just blown away by the passion, how you can recite poetry. I'm not a poet. I remember I think Gus Lamont talked about it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up fighting. Okay? And every one of you who keeps getting knocked down, the key thing is get back up and fighting. And when you're in school, listen, you're bound to get a bad grade. But guess what? You get back up and you keep fighting and fighting and fighting. Because education is freedom. How many of you had an opportunity to read something that you never would have imagined to read that brought you outside of the walls? I remember when I was in prison, and I used to say, I don't live here, I temporarily reside here. Because I wanted my mind to be outside of the prison, because I knew there was going to come a day where I would be free. And as long as I had the mindset that I wasn't living in prison, I was temporarily residing, I knew I would succeed. Were there challenges when I got out? Absolutely. Were there struggles? Absolutely. I remember the first day I went to a classroom at Hofstra University when I got out. I chose the seat closest to the door. Because I said to myself, here I am, 37, 38 years old, going to a classroom full of people half my age. And I said, I'm a guppy in a sea of sharks. I don't know what the internet is. I've never sat in a classroom. I said, I'm going to run. And I said, I'm never going to make it. And guess what? I kept coming back. I kept coming back because I knew I survived prison. I could survive a classroom of 18 and 19-year-olds. Why should I be afraid of them? The internet, I'll learn that. A different teaching method, I'll learn that. And guess what? I ended up living on campus after a while. And about a year after I was out, I did a semester abroad. Education gave me that opportunity. Had it not been for the educational opportunities in prison, when I got out, I would have had to start over. So the fact that the Department of Corrections in Georgetown has developed this program is something that should be embraced. It should be spoken about far and wide. Because we know empirically through evidence that the educational programs create the lowest recidivism rate of any program. And I hate to call it a recidivism program or a rehabilitative program. It really isn't a rehabilitative program. It's more of an opportunistic program. Because many people never would have had the opportunity to go to college, let alone Georgetown. And now that you're in Georgetown, you need to stand tall and run with it. Thank you.
So I know we're running a little over time. We had a late start with the movement issue. Are we okay with the room, Amy? We're okay. And I know that everybody wants food, and we have really, really good food. Aaliyah, should we do the certificates? So there's one thing standing between us and food, which is we'd like to present you with your certificates of completion for the semester. And I'm going to have Aaliyah read out the names. And I'll hand them out. Okay, we'll do these first.
Bilal Ahmed. Calvin Bright. Dewan Barnes. Not here. Jokes. Devon Carter. Joelle Castone. Khalil Davis. I'm going to give this a try, is Were de Gifa. Did I do it? Charles Fantroy. Stefan Jeter. Zachary Johnson. Clarence Jones. Jonathan O'Dell. Neil Persad. Larry Perellis. DeAndre Proctor. Timmy Shields. Joshua Wilkham. Who also got his associate's degree yesterday. Another round of applause. Michael Woody. And John Wooten. And now our credit-bearing students who have all completed, officially as of today, 2 3-credit courses, so congratulations. First, Christina Collins. Dantes Drake. Halim Flowers. Michael Orgy. De Niro Southern Robinson. Mamalu Stewart. Jaquan Warren. And Mustafa Zulu. If I missed anyone, please come find me afterwards, and I promise I will get you a certificate.
Yeah. All right, this now concludes our 3rd end of semester celebration. Congratulations again to our scholars. We're so proud of you, and there's much more to come. So now let's enjoy some delicious food, and let's party.